On this week's episode of Damsels in the DMs.
I see him at this party, and like we go to the bathroom, and he pulls out his, and he's like, "Name it, like it's yours." You should.
He did not. Oh my God.
He did.
No
I'm not
way.
kidding.
This message is intended as a reminder that we are not licensed professionals, not psychiatrists or psychologists. If you have a serious problem, please seek professional help. The National Suicide Hotline is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255.
There's some damsels in the DM.
Yes, queen.
Tell us what's the vibe. There's some damsels in the DM. Please tell us what's the vibe. DMs, yeah we see them, yeah we read them. DMs, we don't need them, we just leave them.
Please.
Yeah.
It's going down in the DMs. Bye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Damsels in the DMs. I'm Lauren.
I'm Ash.
And I'm Alejandro.
And today is a very special episode because it is the Valentine's Day Spectacular. And you might remember from last year, we had some very salacious bad date stories, which we will be bringing back. We have some very special guests, people who are very close to the damsels family. We'll call them best friends of the damsels. One guest who you will not expect at all.
A mystery guest that we are so excited to talk to.
We have another guest who wrote the book People I've Met from the Internet on. There'll be lots of salacious stories, as Lauren mentioned.
Yes. And we are pumped to get into it. As you know, we can at times be a little cynical about love and romance on this podcast. So there is no better way to celebrate Valentine's Day than the ups and downs of dating.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Well, today we have a very special guest. It is our intern, Lizzie Schneider. Lizzie, please tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how we got so lucky to be working with you.
Okay, hi guys. I'm Lizzie. I am the social media intern here at Damsels in the DMs. I am a junior at USC studying communication and public relations. Oh yeah, fight on, baby. Let's go. And I actually found Lauren, who also is an alum, yay, through a fashion industry association club. And they were like, hey, my friend, her podcast needs an intern. And I was like, you know what? It's like COVID semester. It was last year. And I was like, I want something to do. I'll get some experience here. And then, we had a little interview and the rest is history. But yeah, hi guys. Happy to be on today.
By the way, everyone, Lizzie is the best intern ever.
Oh, you guys. You're
Absolutely amazing. Any job you need her for, hire her.
Okay, Lizzie. So in your college days, you are really bringing us this Gen Z perspective that we so need. So can you please tell us what your relationship status is?
I am 20, flirty, and single. We're thriving. We're just living our best life out here and learning about all the social structures that come along with casual dating.
Have you been in any serious relationships while in school or maybe during summer?
So my freshman year of college, I did long distance with my ex-boyfriend who now goes to school across the country. So I did that all of freshman year and then half of my sophomore year. But that was the only serious one, I guess you could say. It was a year and 10 months. But I don't know. I have had some situationships, I guess, since then. But mostly just, one-nighters or, oh, how's it going? Like, I'll see you around.
Please tell us about these dating stories because three of us have been out of college for years. And I'm not going to age us, but please tell us about these Gen Z dating experiences.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'll start out with something that happened actually a few nights ago. That was quite funny. This doesn't have anything to do with a boy, but I was on. It was like 10 p.m. in my sorority house, and I was working on a PowerPoint for 3 straight hours on not only my whole phase, but all of the men I've ever had anything with. It's gonna make me sound insane, but I put so much time into this because my other friends had this PowerPoint night like the week before, and I was like, oh, I want to do this too. So I was like, we'll do another round. It'll be me and a few other people. So I make this PowerPoint. It is a long PowerPoint. Like I put in the work, I put in pictures, I put in like descriptions, like bullet points of everyone. And then my roommate comes in carrying roses and a cute little gift bag. I'm like, oh, hi, like, where are those from? It's like, oh, my boyfriend just asked me to be his Valentine. And mind you, they've been dating for like a long time. Like, okay, not a long time, but like 8 months. Okay. So like it's a long time in college, I guess. And he walks in the room with that and tells me this. And I was like, okay, so I am making a PowerPoint on like my whole phase. And your boyfriend of a long time just asked you to be his Valentine. We are not the same. I was like, I love that. However, it's fine. I'm doing great. But I don't know. It's like college, it's really odd because you have like all of these like pre-set up events, and also people are at such different stages, because like all of my friends were like ready for a boyfriend. Like we want someone to just like cuddle, we're all touch deprived, I don't know, but like, and like have someone to do things with. And all the men at our age, they want that, but like they have no idea how to get there. Like they're so emotionally immature, and it's like weird what a difference between like 20 and 21 to 22 can do.
I remember that age, and you are speaking fucking the truth. Like it was really hard dating the guys your age. Like God bless them, right? They're just little kids. Like they're so young, and women are just, or girls and women are just so much more emotionally intelligent at that age. And it's just a genetic thing. It's not, no shade to men. But it is really hard to date, especially, I mean, men and women, it could be whatever, but at that age, it's really hard to like, you know, find someone who's got their shit together. But like, how is someone gonna get their shit together when they're only 20?
Exactly. Like one of my closest guy friends, like he always talks about how like he wants like a wife and kids and what he wants to do in his future, and you know how he wants a girlfriend. And he was like offended once when I was like, I don't know if you could get a girlfriend. And I was like, you've never had one before, and you literally told me you can't commit to taking a girl out to dinner. Like I don't understand.
I'm curious though, do you have any crazy stories of dating app incidences?
I have so much content for you. Okay. So the first man that I met off of a dating app. So this is like about a year ago. My ex-boyfriend and I broke up, and I was like, you know what? Best way to get over someone, we'll meet some more people. So I meet this guy on a certain sports team that I happen to really appreciate. Water polo, USC, let's go. Nothing like a man in a Speedo on a Sunday morning, okay?
No, that's right. Oh my goodness.
So I meet this guy, and he's nice, whatever. He tells me to go over to his apartment to drink some wine. And he's like, the later you wait, the worse quality the wine's going to be. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, okay. He's also my age. So I'm like, sure. All right. Anyway, I get there, and it's one of those bottles that you like need a wine opener, like a corkscrew, right? Well, he doesn't have one, or he can't find it. So I literally like lead him on a tour around his house because I came over for wine. I'm ready, right? And we don't find it. So, you know, do some other stuff. Anyway, as I'm about to leave, I wanted to take the wine. And I was like, you promised this wine for me. Like, I'm going to take it. He would not let me take it. He was like, but it was $14.99. And I was like, okay, cry me a river. So it was St. Patrick's Day, like around St. Patrick's Day too. So he was like, oh, well, my mom sent me candy. Like, do you want any candy? And I was like, no, like it's fine. Like, no. He tosses me candy, and as I'm walking out the door, I'm like, okay, whatever, bye. Like he walks me out, but still. So I get into my car and I look at the candy, and it's gold coins. I was like, sir, you don't pay me for my services. Like, excuse me. We never talked again. But another big dating thing. So I'm in a sorority, and a lot of the thing, like we have invites and stuff, and like fraternities have invites too.
Time of my life. My glory
I love
days.
them. They're so fun. But sometimes it can get a little fuzzy if you're going as like friends or if you're going as a date. But like even if you're going as friends, like you're still there as a date. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know, you still have to like be respected, I guess. So I went on a formal with this dude. Like had a fat crush, still kind of do. Actually, I very much do, but it's fine. And we're just friends, which is okay. And that's how we were going. But he still like was left the dinner table to go talk to another girl, like on his phone. And I was like, all right, bud, like, thanks for that. And so I was not pleased about that. And then the next day, he got the waitresses at the venue that we were at, he got her phone number. And I was there.
Oh my God.
Like the whole group chat, they're like, wow, like I wish that so-and-so was like flirting with me as much as he was with the waitress. And I just liked the message because I was like, Anyway, we're still friends. He felt bad about it because I guilt tripped him. So I kind of felt bad about that. But also I was like, I spent like so much time painting this cooler for you because you have to paint coolers so that you can bring everything that you need on the trip with you. And I'm not very artistic, so it took me a while. And I was like, sir, I put in all this time and all this effort for you. I bought all the alcohol. Like, granted, you paid for my trip. But I was like, that is like so rude. Like, you just didn't say anything to me. Like, you're just gonna do that. So that was rough. But now we're still friends, so that's good.
I actually completely forgot about the coolers.
The coolers are very, yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that still goes on, actually.
No,
I can't believe he got the numbers of the waitress and all these other
Also that.
Yeah, I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah, that was
Wait,
time.
so like, did you address it in that moment when you saw, or like, what was his reaction when you were like,
Oh,
hey?
so I'd had a little talk about, respect because it was embarrassing for me because I'm like, people are associated together, right? And so I was like, it's regardless if we came as friends or not, like, gotta be like, kind of, I don't know, at least be
treat
subtle,
you as a date. Also, if it's not explicitly stated that you're going as friends, then like I feel like one can assume there could be potential, right?
I know. And
even if you
ask me anything.
Even if it is stated like, hey, we're just friends, but like I'm taking you on, like, then go and get someone's number, be like somewhere else, not in front of like everyone. Yeah, because then it looks like they're together. Number one, nobody's gonna know if they're friends or if they're dating, and then it's embarrassing, like him getting a girl's number right in front of you.
Oh well, the same night, this other girl was into him, which is good for him. Pop off, I guess. But she was like, she straight up asked me like, "Oh, are you guys hooking up?" I was like, ma'am, I've never met you before in my life. Even if we were, that's not your business. Like, what do you think's gonna happen here? It's so odd. But I said something. I was like, hey, like, remember a little conversation about respect yesterday? He's like, oh, was that not respectful? And I was like, no, it wasn't. We're friends now. Like we worked it out. But I have it. So in my presentation that I was talking about earlier, I have two sections. So I have D1 athletes as one section, and I have frat men, that being their biggest like characteristic, and then I also have looking ahead.
That being their biggest characteristic.
One of them, in the D1 athletics section, had never met him before. Okay, like we met on Tinder. It over the summer. The timing never works out. Like he's international, so he went back to his like hometown, like for an extended period of time, and I was still in LA after I came back from New York. And then beginning of the year rolls around and we're like, oh my God, like maybe we'll meet up, whatever. Super nice dude. We meet at this party of his team, right? He says one thing to me, you're a lot shorter in person than I thought. And then I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Hey. Like, okay, walks away, right? Like we hug, say hello. And then he says that to me. And then he goes and finds some other people because he's at his teammate's house, like whatever. And like later we're walking out of the function. I haven't seen him since, and he's like making out with another girl. I'm like, oh, okay. Good for you, babes. Good for you. Y'all are gonna get a giggle out of this. So one of my best friends is on the soccer team, the women's soccer team. And that team like all the teams are close, like women's lacrosse and men's water polo are like besties, and like women's soccer and USC football are like best friends. So she's friends with a lot of people. So anytime I see a football player or someone DMs me, I'm like, hey, like, what do we think about them? Like, what do you know about them? Like that I should know. Because I want to be briefed. I want to know. I think we matched on Tinder. See, I have a lot of dating app stories, honestly. And I'm like, hey, like, do we know anything about him? She's like, oh, he's like a transfer. He's new. He seems nice, whatever. But like, this is what they're going to do. This is the formula. He's going to text you. You're going to keep texting. It's going to be good. And then he's going to call you and ask to come over. Like clockwork, he does that. And she was like, he's going to expect you guys to like hook up, but like, you don't have to if you don't want to, but like, that's what he's going to expect. So he comes over, we don't hook up. We just sleep in the same bed. Cause I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not like other girls. Anyway, he leaves in the morning cause he's practice, of course, whatever. And I tell her and she's like, oh, that's like weird, but like, that's good. Like, I'm glad that he wasn't normal. Like the other ones, cause some of them like they kind of suck. So anyway, all is normal. He always is asking me, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's kind of stressful almost, because I was like, fuck, like, gotta do something. I didn't and I told him that I was like, you're literally stressing me out right now. Like, I'm sorry, I'm busy. Like, I can't all the time. He's like, I just want to get to know you. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, no, you don't. Anyway, I see him at this party, and like we go to the bathroom, and he pulls out his, and he's like, name it. Like, it's yours. You should.
He did not. Oh my
Oh, he
God.
did.
No
I'm not
way.
kidding. I've still never hooked up with him. And now I see him on the field and I get excited because I'm like, oh my God. Like, yeah. I kind of have a lot of stories. It's kind of bad. My like issue is I'm really bad at keeping people around. Like, I don't know how to keep people interested. And so like it's kind of sad, but like also I'm at the age where like that's just normal. Like people like you go for it and you move on and you just find someone else, which sucks. But it's okay.
And I feel like this is not the age to be worried about anything that like may come, because you're going to spend the next 10 years worrying about that like college, you might as well just have the best time, because I think the rest of us just like spend our time missing college.
I literally wasted 3 years of college in a relationship that I ended when I graduated. And I'm having major regrets. Yeah. Because like I kind of missed out on not even a hoe phase, but just like, other things that you can do, like go hang out with like guy friends, or like just there's so much that you can't really do, or it's not appropriate when you're in a relationship, especially at that age. Because he was very like insecure, and like if I didn't give him attention, it'd be a thing. So I kind of regret that. So while you're single and still in college and still young as hell, please fucking enjoy that. Like, you have your youth, like fucking enjoy that, live your life, get the best experiences out of college. And then like Lauren and Alejandro said, like, you're gonna have the rest of your life to fucking worry about finding your man.
And on that note, Lizzie, thank you so much for being on Damsels today. We are so lucky to have had you.
Thank you so much.
It's an absolute fucking pleasure, dude. Like, you're so fucking funny.
Yes.
I need to
I
come
want
on
to hear
your
more
vlog.
stories.
Yes, please.
Oh, I have more. I have more. Thank you so much, guys. I'm honored to be on.
We love you.
I love you guys.
We love you so much, honestly, and we appreciate everything.
Come on anytime. Yeah.
Oh, you guys, I love you. Mwah.
All right, damsels. On this show, we talk all the time about how important peace of mind is. Because what's more important than peace of mind? Nothing. And that is what NordVPN is here for. To give you peace of mind while you are online. And with all of the threats that you face today on the internet, come on, dating apps, it is more important than ever to be sure that you have the best VPN you can get. NordVPN is the world's best VPN service, offering the fastest connectivity, most servers, and next-gen encryption to make sure that everything you do online stays secure. Plus, you can use NordVPN on all of your computers and devices, no matter the operating system. And come on, let's be honest, how many devices are you using these days? With Nord's VPN's unlimited bandwidth, you never have to worry about a slow connection either. And plans start at under $4 per month. We love a deal. So, grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/Believe or use the code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV to get up to 70% of your NordVPN plan plus one additional month for free. It's also risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Damsels, you don't want to miss out on this deal.
I don't know about you, but the winter weather definitely takes a toll on my skin. But luckily, when I'm looking for something to leave it feeling satin smooth, I always look to Way Melrose Place Body Cream. It's fast absorbing, so it nourishes my skin when I need it most, and hydration prevents dryness like none other. High-quality, nourishing ingredients balance my skin without stripping it or leaving any unwanted residue. Experience the new Way Melrose Place Body Cream and Body Cleanser. Your body, your way. Go to theouai.com, that's theway.com, and use code BLEAV for Believe to get 15% off your entire purchase. That's 15% off your entire order at theway.com, code Believe.
All right, next up we have Stephen Van Dyke, author of People I've Met from the Internet. Super, super excited to have you on. Stephen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Why don't we just jump in and have you tell us about yourself, your relationship status?
I'm Stephen. I'm recently single. I was in a 9-year relationship that just ended 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
And this is my book, People I've Met from the Internet. It's a list of everyone I met in person from the internet from 1997 to 2009.
Wow. Amazing.
I absolutely love how you've logged meticulously so many stats behind each encounter. What are some of like the most memorable ones that come to mind?
Where to begin?
Well, I have a question in
Yeah.
particular. You mentioned Nicholas Hernandez, and this struck my attention because you mentioned going to a library that had like a very specific way of categorizing books. Do you remember? The Stephen program is how you mentioned it. What was the Stephen program about?
Oh, yeah. I could read that whole annotation to you if you like.
Perfect.
Nicholas Hernandez drove from Phoenix. I drove from Albuquerque, and we met in Flagstaff. I brought the family road atlas. I remembered our old road atlas had highlighter on each route we took on summer road trips. When we got the 1995 road atlas, my mother stopped highlighting because she decided it was superficial, like she was conquering those places just by driving through them. In a parking lot, I gave Nicholas head in his car, and he was very forceful. Nicholas made me listen to punky electro clash and repeatedly grabbed me by my hair. Afterward, we snuck into a hotel pool. Nicholas and I talked daily for a few months after that. He cried on the phone when I was leaving for Paris for a month and would be without my cell phone. Nicholas came to LA in July, and we almost had sex in his hotel room. We were on the bed and he was drunk, telling me about fashion designers. Later, Nicholas Hernandez moved to San Francisco, and when I visited him there, we went to the Prelinger Library, a private collection organized not by genre or author, but by the likelihood that your interest in one book would lead you logically to the next. We liked every book we found. That night, Nicholas fucked me for less than a minute on a bunk bed and then fell asleep during the act. After a day of not talking about the sex, I mentioned it in passing, and Nicholas responded like I had told a strange, uncomfortable joke. A few weeks later, over the phone, I described in detail what I remembered of the incident, and Nicholas denied it completely and said he didn't believe me. We never talked about it again. I encouraged Nicholas to apply to CalArts, where I was currently doing an MFA. He applied and was accepted. Nicholas wanted a place to stay, so I offered my living room and he moved in. He moved back to the Bay Area when the semester ended because he said he couldn't afford CalArts anymore. After that, we sometimes referred to his LA days as his time in the Stephen program.
Whoa.
Wow.
Why do you think he really didn't remember because he was drunk, or was he just like playing
embarrassed?
Yeah.
I think he was drunk.
Okay.
I think he was so drunk that he like was blackout, pass out drunk. I think what was confusing is that at the time I didn't perceive him that way. And so it's like, oh, I mean, I don't know, if you're that drunk, how could you like stick your dick into a butthole? Like,
for real. I mean, that doesn't make no sense.
I'm assuming you're using like different names, right?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. I was like, whoa, you said his name.
Oh no. Yeah, I know. There's that feeling that like, how is this going to affect real people? We definitely thought about that a lot.
So what inspired you to write this book?
Oh, well, a lot of things. I guess I was thinking about like, oh, I met all these people. What does it mean? Like other people, like by the time I even started to conceive of this book when I was in my mid-20s, other people already were like, who were my age, were already married with babies. So it's like, what's my life about?
And what do you think you took away after writing the book and now having it in the world?
I think something that I hoped to communicate through the book is just that like living life itself is meaningful. and that all of these times and events are a life, and it's just not the same shape that we were told it should be.
I just read a play that kind of validates what you're talking about, that talked about how life is a compilation of short stories. And it's funny thinking about that quote in comparison with your story too, because that's sort of what you illustrate.
Right. And the book isn't full of horror stories. Like, it's very feel good. It's very, I don't know if feel good is the right word, but
to me there were pieces that were really nostalgic. I mean, we were joking before you came on about like how like sometimes I feel like such a boomer when it comes to certain things, but seeing the mention of like MSN and AIM and even like gay.com, seeing things like that just really like I loved that about your book, where it's just like brought me back to these moments, which is like, oh my God, like I remember at a certain age, like, indulging in certain chat rooms and things and connecting with people that I probably shouldn't have been, but I learned a lot about myself and them in the process.
It's funny how like early internet stuff is still here. All the funny scenes and problems that came up that I tried to capture still happen, but now there's just like we have more rules. We have ways of making sense of how to navigate those situations. Like we've all, I don't know, there's it's been memeified. We all can picture like what it looks like to show up at some guy's apartment, and like back then it was like, I don't know, like, oh, here I am. What, I don't know what happens. Like nobody has ever said. So there was some excitement and creativity involved. Like, what will we do? Like, is this a date? Is this a hookup? And now it's like, I said no hookups. Like, or I said no strings attached. Right. So.
Well, I want to say it's really brave of you to sort through those memories and kind of relive them while writing about them, and having like a different perspective on it, and like going into it with like an open mind, like these are things that happened to me and I'm going to write about it and I'm going to share these stories with the world, because there are obviously there's so many people going through not the same but similar experiences with homophobia and just dating stories in general, and it's really nice or comforting that they'll read your book and be like, oh shit, like I'm not alone, so that's really cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I am curious. You mentioned having broken up with your boyfriend of, did you say 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be writing a book about that experience, either during, after, before?
Probably. I probably need a lot of time. The thing I'm working on now includes a little bit of it. But yeah, I think like when looking back, people have families and children, but those of us who don't and won't, we also have this creative energy. You create a being, a person. Like what is the creativity of your life if it's not this traditional idea that we even see as a biological imperative? Maybe it's through our creativity. Maybe it's through making sense of the fact that we have gone on lots of dates. It was hard to maybe grasp and embrace that maybe this is my baby. Like this is what I did instead.
Hell yeah.
And that's a queer thing too. And it's also, a lot of women aren't having children. So it's like, what do we do? And I think that makes them queer in some ways. So what do we do instead? We have to channel our eros. We have to channel our creative energy into something and make sense of that.
I love everything about that.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
No, literally, like I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
So when can we expect to see this next publication?
Yeah, I think I'll be pregnant for a while.
Thank you so much again for coming on, and we hope to have you back on the podcast for a fuller episode. And
yes,
hope to hear
I'd love to.
And congratulations to you for being so accepting on so many versions of yourself. I feel like so many of us, like it's hard to look back at certain parts of our life and we cringe and regret, but I think it's just so impressive and so courageous, as Osh was saying, that you have so much acceptance in your life.
Thanks.
I am going to go out and buy a copy of this book because I want to read more about these stories.
Do it.
And we'll put a link with the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll be doing excerpts on TikTok of it soon.
Yay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me. It was lovely talking to you all.
Okay, everybody, we have a very special guest today. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Brian. Now, listeners, you may have heard much about Brian from all of my trials and tribulations and stories of success. So thank you, Brian, for joining us today.
Yeah, long-time listener, first-time caller. Really excited to be part of this. I've heard many of these, have been here from the jump, so I'm excited I finally got an invite. It only took me 4 years, 5 years, I don't know how long.
Just two.
Brian, we always hear such amazing stories through Lauren of how your relationship is evolving over time. And while that is super admirable and always beautiful to hear, I am curious, do you have any interesting stories as a bachelor or from your bachelor life?
Yeah, no, there was a long time that I was pro bachelor life. I think
bachelor life, okay.
Yeah. It started
that was his
in college.
hashtag. It was pro bachelor life. Also, I'd like to add on, this always happens, by the way, that somebody asks Brian a question and then I go to answer for him, but I'm going to stop. I'm going to cut myself
Lauren's
off.
mic. Mute her mic.
Mute her mic.
Can I just say one thing though? That Brian's
Just one thing.
Brian, we were just talking about screen names, and can you please tell the listeners what your screen name was?
Yeah, Smith Stissel.
That's a lie. It was You Get to Party.
I can have multiple screen names. I have multiple screen names.
The best one was You Get to Party.
Yeah, I know that was what you're going at right there, but I wanted to make you work for it a little bit. They're a good part of relationships.
Okay, there you go. Answer the damn question.
I don't know. You have 3 more things you want to say? Yeah, so I know I was pro bachelor life for a while, all throughout college. I think just the college lifestyle, being part of the Greek life and just like what they show in the movies, they don't really promote healthy relationships in college. You don't see like Van Wilder and they're like, oh yeah, he had a really good long-term relationship. It went really well throughout college. So I definitely like to explore the bachelor life throughout college.
We've all heard Lauren's version of your meet cute and how you guys met. I want to know your version of how you met Lauren, what you thought of her, like, if, like how you got her to be your girlfriend, just like the whole process. Like, how did this happen?
It was a long, drawn-out process. I don't know how much Lauren's gone into it on the podcast, but it definitely was a long courting season of me not wanting to be courted. So that was part of the process. But no, I definitely chased Lauren. I thought she was smart, witty, energetic. So I met her in October.
Forgot beautiful, kind, caring, empathetic.
I met her. I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't the most sober when I met her. So I re-met her a second time. And that went really well the second time as well. And then we talked throughout my senior year. And I think I was just trying to kind of continue living that lifestyle my senior year. So I wasn't really ready for a relationship. And then we started dating, I think a full year after that. So we had a full year of the not boyfriend and girlfriend, but still seeing each other all the time. And so it took me from a year to kind of shift the mindset that I was in into wanting to slowly sort of want to be in a relationship. I think a common mindset for a 22-year-old guy. That's how old I was.
And Brian, how would you say I finally won you over?
With persistence. I think persistence is the key to life. It's what I like to tell Lauren all the time. As you guys are going throughout the acting world, it's a little challenging. So you just got to be persistent for the things that you want in life.
I love that.
You have some thoughts that Lauren?
No, I think that was a great answer. I'm curious as to what your answer would be for what makes a long-lasting relationship.
I mean, it's cliche, but communication and aligning on what you want. I think it's easy to have like conversations early on about what you want when you're in the honeymoon period. But I think it's important to check in and make sure that things are getting done. Like, are the dishes getting done the right way? Are the towels getting put the right way? Lauren has a little bit of OCD, so I got to make sure that I put the towels in the right way and I use my towels and not her towels, and I close all the cupboards. So I think it's really important to figure out those little things for like a long lasting relationship, because you have all like the gleeful fun, you go out to the dinners, you go on vacation, and that's easy. But I think it's kind of when you get down to living, you need to kind of figure out what is important to them and make sure you're doing those things.
So we've heard from Lauren, like I think the best thing that I'm taking away from your relationship is that you guys really understand each other really well. Like you were just saying about, her OCD and like how to navigate just being, compatible for each other, and that your communication is also key. You're really great at that. What is your advice for young single girls and guys out there who are, trying to find their person, or kind of just filtering through the bullshit of dating?
Yeah, I don't know if I have the best advice for finding someone, because I haven't been looking for someone for a long time. But I think the important thing when you're trying to identify if it's the right person or not is you don't want to have to change that person to be the person you want to be with. Like if they don't like to go out and like have a couple drinks, you don't really want to have to shift and make them, and you don't want to have to hide like half your personality. Because I think if you have to do that and you have to conform and do that, like you're never gonna be truly happy. You're gonna always feel slightly held back. So make sure you're aligned on what your future goals are. Make sure you guys, maybe like Lauren really likes plays, I really like sports, and like it's give or take, but make sure you guys both like doing similar things, because that'll help have a long term and happy relationship. Because you're both want to continue to do things because you don't have to keep on faking something that you might not really like.
Brian, I want you to touch on something because I think there's a lot of couples who are listening, and not everybody has a picture perfect relationship, and a lot of people go through hard times and conflicts. A conflict that we had recently was about me getting a dog. What advice would you offer to other couples who might be going through a difficult time, and how do you compromise and overcome conflict?
Be willing to forgive. That's my opening answer right there. Lauren really wanted a dog. I didn't want a dog. I accepted dog ownership recently. I think she's had the dog for 9 months now. Proud dog dad. Dog dad. Nice word.
Dog dad.
New title.
Dog dad. I know it's still hard for me to say. I'm still new in this process. I think the important thing when like you have conflicts come up like that is like you are going to kind of go through some turmoil, and you'll definitely have to have back and forth conversation, but continuing the dialogue and like setting expectations of what's happening. I think the way we got through that is like Lauren's like, all right, I'm going to take care of the dog for all of it. I'm the primary caretaker. I have these responsibilities. So if there's something that you're not necessarily that you want to do, the other person really wants to do it, if they're willing to kind of step up, put both feet forward, and you get to keep living your same lifestyle, then I think you can accept it and be okay with it.
And how do you feel about Ernie?
Ernie's great now. It's 9 months later when I was ready for him. Sometimes you're just not quite ready for greatness.
Okay, Brian. So one thing that I have always really admired about you is how great you are in preparing women, particularly for interviews. As many people know, as I've talked about before, Brian and I have very different career paths, but to many of my friends and like close relatives, Brian's been really great in helping to prepare them for job interviews. So I'm curious what advice you would offer to women who are making a career shift or a career jump, and also just to be confident in interview processes.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that I've noticed kind of helping your friends and family members is they don't always have the confidence when they should. They have the skill sets, they have the knowledge, they don't necessarily know how to project and speak in a business orientation, and they'll go off maybe in tangents, or they'll have the right answer and they just won't say it confidently. So I think a lot of it is just say it confidently, even if it's not quite right. People will respect that. And just a little deep dive on going through job interviews, you want to use the keywords and phrases that they use it. You also want to use examples when you're talking about it, and you want to think about questions that you can follow up on them with. So you want to have more than basic level questions. So going through all their social media, going through their LinkedIn, understanding what might be important to them. So if you see they have a charity, ask them about that charity. If it's on social media, it's probably something they care about, and you can develop a personal connection with them. And then go in